Little Rosa was her name, and still I cry in vain. My world won't be the same since she's gone from me. I had gone to visit the grave of a friend of mine, and as I walked through the graveyard, I noticed this man kneeling down by the grave of a child, and in his hand he held a big red rose, and tears were streaming down his cheeks. I walked over and laid a hand on his shoulder and started to talk to him, and during the course of our conversation, and in his broken English, this is the story just as he told it to me. He said, "Mister, I'm a-walking down the street today and I pass by a big flower shop. I walk in and I ask the man in the shop, I say, 'Boss, how much for one the red rose?' And he looked at me with one big frown and he says, 1 please.' But in a by, a swell-dressed blonde young lady walk in, and she says, 'How much for one the red rose?' And he looked at her with one big smile, and he says, 10 cents. And then I said, 'Boss, how come you charging me $1 for the rose? You charging the young lady only 10 cents. And he says, 'Look, mister, you telling me why you want the rose, and maybe I'll give it to you for naught.' And then I said, 'Boss, I'm a hard working man. Working the railroad and don't make too much money. And I got a little girl, and her name is Rosa. Oh, Rosa's just about this high, boss. Every day when I come home from work, a little Rosa come running to me to Papa. And she throw little arms around my neck and say, 'Papa,' and I'd say, 'Rosa.' Oh, but one day, boss, I come home from work and I don't see Rosa. I look down by the railroad track and I see one of the bigger crowd. I go down and I push the crowd this way and I push the crowd that way, and there, boss, at my feet lay my little Rosa. And that's why I want the Rosa, boss. I want to put him on little Rosa's grave. The man, he don't say a lot, but he picked the biggest and the reddest rose, and he give it to me. And I say, "Thank you, boss. Thank you very much." And though she's gone, you see, she's still the world to me. To me, she'll always be that little girl of mine. Missing you, can't help but wish that you were in my arms tonight, making love with me. Kissing you, that's all I want to do. It never seems just right now that we are apart. I always spend my time just writing lines to you. Can't wait for you to write saying you love me too. tonight, making love to me. I always spend my time just writing lines to you. Can't wait for you to write, saying you love me too. Missing you, can't help but wish that you were in my arms tonight, making love to me. On our little girl's third birthday, she got a sandbox in the backyard to play. Sand was everywhere as she played and she laughed. I fussed at her, for it killed all the grass.
It'll come back. It'll come back. Daddy, don't be mad. God and the rain will bring it back.
When our little girl just turned 10, she got a bike to ride with all her friends. She skinned both her knees as she played and she laughed. I busted her, for it killed all the grass.
It'll come back. It'll come back. Daddy, don't be mad. God and the rain will bring it back.
When our little girl turned 17, we built her a pool in the backyard that spring. All her friends came and they swam and they splashed. I fussed at her, for it killed all the grass.
It'll come back. It'll come back. Daddy, don't be mad. God and the rain will bring it back.
My wife and I sit on the porch all alone as I look out across at my beautiful lawn. The house is quiet, there's no children that play, and I said to my wife, honey, if you'll listen real close, you can still hear her say,
It'll come back. It'll come back. It'll come back. It'll come back. Daddy, don't be mad. God and the rain will bring it back. It'll come back. It'll come back. It'll come back. It'll come back.
I was driving down a lonely road on a dark and stormy night when a little girl by the roadside showed up in my headlights. I stopped and she got in the back, and in a shaky tone she said, my name is Mary, please won't you take me home? She must have been so frightened tonight. There was something strange about her. Her face was deathly white. She sat so pale and silent on the back seat all alone. I never will forget that night I took Mary home. I pulled into the driveway where she told me to go. Got out to help her from the car and open up the door. But I could not believe my eyes. The back seat was bare. I looked all around the car, but Mary wasn't there. A small light shone from the porch. A woman opened up the door. I asked about the little girl that I was looking for. Then the lady gently smiled as she brushed a tear away. She said it sure was nice of you to go out of your way. But 13 years ago tonight, in a wreck just down the road, our darling Mary lost her life, and we still miss her so. So thank you for your troubles and the kindness you have shown. You're the 13th one who's been here bringing Mary home. You're the 13th one who's been here bringing Mary home. Wasn't very pretty, and her clothes were old and worn. They were hand-me-downs, that's all she ever knew. Daisy never had no schooling. She helped Papa on the farm. She helped Mama with the kids and cooking too. Grown-ups paid her no attention, but she always had a smile. And her great big heart was beating love so strong. How the children loved her, and they loved to hear her singing. Come a Sunday morning, they would sing along.
She made a chain of love, Daisy's chain of love. The earth was filled with song, Daisy's love chain was strong.
When Daisy read the Bible, all the kids would listen. You could almost see the angels overhead. She said, kids, you must remember, God loves everybody. And I know those words were true that Daisy said.
She made a chain of love, Daisy's chain of love. The earth was filled with song, Daisy's love chain was strong.
She was only 27 when a choir from up above came and took her to a place where she belongs. And when the winds are blowing, if you listen, you can hear hills and valleys echo I was on my way out to Phoenix, and I stopped in a West Texas town to gas up the old truck and rest a bit, and I thought I might do some browsing around. I asked the man at the truck stop what was happening in town. I like to kick up my feet. And he said, "Why, there's a band from the Grand Ole Opry that's playing right down the street." And the place was about 3 blocks away, and it looked like a used car lot. The music sounded prettier every step I took and got louder the closer I got. I paid my way in and pushed through the crowd to the bandstand way in the rear. And I was leaning on the rail by Hal Rugg and his steel guitar with a grin from ear to ear. And my attention was drawn to a little old man, and his hair was as white as snow. In one hand he held an old fiddle, and in the other hand was a bow. Well, at first I thought he was there with the band, but I soon saw what it was about. Why, he was a hounding the boys to let him sit in, and the club owners wanting to throw the old man out. Soon the band took a break, and the boys came down. The star, you all know him well. He made his way over to the little old man through the screaming crowd and the yells, and he said, "You know, I seem to recognize you, sir, but I don't quite recall your name." "Oh, yeah, I remember now. Why, I was just a kid when you was at the height of your fame." "Now, hold on, son," the old man said. "There's no use to waste your breath. Well, there's a modern trend in music today, and the fiddle has met its death. Why, there's not a soul in this crowd tonight that would even give me a hand. But, son, I want to hear what a fiddle sounds like just one more time with the band." Soon the band came back, and the star of the show, and the crowd fell still and quiet. For the little old man, he was introduced that night like never before, with the click of the strings and the touch of the bow and the count of 1, 2, 3. Such a fiddling you've never heard before. It's something the whole world should see. Why, the crowd wouldn't let the old man quit. It was a night we'd never forget. And he played every number that they asked him to play until his clothes was just wringing with sweat. That night, I saw a genius at work, the touch of a true master's hand, for he had more talent in one little finger than the entire rest of the band. But I had to leave a few minutes before closing time to get a head start of the crowd. And I got my old truck back out on the highway, and inside I felt good and proud. I'm glad I didn't stay until they played the theme, for the morning papers all read, when the band played "Good Night, Little Sweetheart," the old fiddler fell dead. The highways that wind and wander over mountains, valleys, deserts and plains. I guess I've drove about all of them. 'Cause for the past 25 years now, the cab of a truck has been my home. And it'd be kind of hard for me to settle down and not be on the go. Well, I remember the first truck I drove. I was so proud I could hardly wait to get home to show my wife and little boy. And my little boy was so excited like when he saw his first snow. He wasn't old enough to say too many words. He just kept hollering, "Giddy up, go, Daddy, giddy up, go." So that's what I named the old truck, Giddy Up Go. Oh, things wasn't too bad. Of course, I was gone an awful lot. And then after about 6 years, I got home one day and found my wife and little boy gone. And I couldn't find out what happened. Nobody seemed to know. So from that day on, it's just been me and old Giddy Up Go. Oh, I've made a lot of friends at all the truck stops. Some of them would kid me about my little sign. course, they knew where I'd got the name, 'cause I told them about that little boy of mine and how his first word about the truck was giddy up go. Well, today I was barreling down old 66 when up beside me pulled a brand new diesel rig, both stacks blowing black coal. And as he pulled around and back in front of me, a big lump came in my front. A little sign on the back of the truck that read, "Giddy up, go." Well, I pushed old Giddy up and stayed right on him till the next truck stop where he pulled up. And I waited till he went in and I offered to buy him a cup. Well, we got to talking shop and I said, "How'd you come by the name on your truck, Giddy up, go?" Well, he said, I got it from my pop. Dad used to drive a truck. That's what Mom talked about a lot. You see, I lost Mom when I was just past 16. And I lost all track of Pop. Mom said he got the name from me. Well, I shook his hand and told him I had something I wanted him to see. And I took him out to the old truck and brushed off some of the dirt so the name would show. And his eyes got big and bright as he read "Giddy up, go." Oh, we had a lot of things to talk about, and buddy, I felt like a king. And now we've just pulled back on old 66, and he handled that rig better than any gear jammer that I'd ever seen. Well, now the lines on the highway have a much brighter glow as we go roaring down the road, and me staring at little sign that reads, "Giddy up, go." She always was a tomboy. She didn't like the frilly things. She'd rather wear her old flop hat or some faded jeans. Now her mother tried to change her, but I said just let her be. Someday she's gonna grow up and make a real fine lady.
I love you more than I love my frog, more than I love my dog. I love to climb up in the trees, but I'd rather climb up on your knees, 'cause Daddy, I love you more.
The years just seemed to fly by, how they slipped away. And the little girl that was on my knee was having a wedding day. Her mother was a-crying while my heart was skipping a beat. I closed my eyes, went back in time when she said to me,
I love you more than I love my frog, more than I love my dog. I love to climb up in the trees, but I'd rather climb up on your knees, 'cause Daddy, I love you more.
things just seem to work out right when we think they're wrong. That little girl upon my knee has a daughter of her own, with the bluest eyes just like her mom's. She's a tomboy all the way, and it brings back memories as I watch her play.
I love you more than I love my frog, more than I love my dog. I love to climb up in the trees, but I'd rather climb up on your knees, 'cause Daddy, I love you more. I love you more than I love my frog, more than I love my dog. I love to climb up in the trees, but I'd rather climb up on your knees, 'cause Daddy, I love you
Girls, it's so nice having you around. You can pick me up when my heart is on the ground. And gee, it's so nice having you so near, holding you so dear to my heart.
And we think Fred's so fine. He's a friend of mine. He's a good old guy. Fred's so fine. When we're sad, he can make us glad. That's why we think Fred's so fine.
Girls, you make my day and my nighttime too. When you're in my world, there is nothing I can't do. And you fill my life with the love I need. Anyone can see I love you.
And we think Fred's so fine. He's a friend of mine. He's a good old guy. Fred's so fine. When we're sad, he can make us glad. That's why we think Fred's so fine. That's why we think Fred's so fine.
I was out on the West Coast trying to make a buck, and things didn't work out, and I was down on my luck. I got tired of roaming and bumming around, so I started thumbing back east toward my hometown. Made a lot of miles the first 2 days, and I figured I'd be home in a week if my luck held out this way. But the third night I got stranded way out of town at a cold, lonely crossroads. Rain was pouring down. I was hungry and freezing and done caught a chill when the lights of a big semi topped the hill. Lord, I sure was glad to hear them air brakes come on, and I climbed in that cab where I knew it'd be warm. At the wheel sat a big man. He weighed about 210. He stuck out his hand and said with a grin, "Big Joe's your name," and I told him mine. And he said the name of my rig is Phantom 309. Well, I asked him why he called his rig such a name. And he said, "Son, this old Mac can put 'em all to shame. Why, there ain't a driver or a rig a running any line that's seen nothing but taillights from Phantom 309. Well, we rode and talked for the better part of the night when the lights of a truck stop came in sight. He said, "I'm sorry, son, but this is as far as you go, 'cause I gotta make a turn just on up the road." Well, he tossed me a dime as he pulled her in low and said, "Have yourself a hot cup on old Big Joe." When Joe and his rig roared out into the night, in nothing flat, he was clean out of sight. Well, I went inside and ordered me a cup, told the waiter Big Joe was setting me up. Ooh, you could have heard a pin drop. It got deathly quiet, and the waiter's face turned kind of white. "Well, did I say something wrong?" I said with a halfway grin. And he said, "No, this happens every now and then. Why, every driver in here knows Big Joe. But son, let me tell you what happened about 10 years ago. At the crossroads tonight where you flagged him down, there was a busload of kids a-coming from town. And they were right in the middle when Big Joe topped the hill. And it could have been slaughter, but he turned his wheels. Well, Joe lost control, went into a skid, and gave his life to save that bunch of kids. And there at that crossroads was the end of the line for Big Joe and Phantom 309. But every now and then, some hiker will come by, and like you, Big Joe will give him a ride. Here, have another cup and forget about the dime. keep it as a souvenir from Big Joe and Phantom 309. I recall the night that you came into this world. I couldn't believe the doctor when he said it's a little girl. Oh, I said, now, Doc, you must be wrong. You see, I want a boy. Then he laid you in my arms, and my heart sang with joy.
Daddy's girl, Daddy's girl, I'm the center of Daddy's world. I know I'm Daddy's number one, for he loves me like I was his son. Daddy's girl.
I recall the time I took you to a baseball game. You brought along your baby doll and half its baby things. We sat there playing house while the Dodgers played the Braves. And everyone in the bleachers looked at us as if to say,
Daddy's girl, Daddy's girl, I'm the center of Daddy's world. I know I'm Daddy's number one, for he loves me like I was his son. Daddy's girl.
I recall the time I took you on a fishing trip. You said, Daddy, won't that hook hurt the fish's lip? You said, if they don't get air, those things in the can will die. So we turned the worms loose and chased some butterflies.
Daddy's girl, Daddy's girl, I'm the center of Daddy's world. I know I'm Daddy's number one, for he loves me like I was his son. Daddy's girl.
I recall the day that your young man come to call. It seems like only yesterday we swam and played football. But I know the time has come that I must set you free. But no matter where you are, you know what you are to me.
Daddy's girl, Daddy's girl, I'm the center of Daddy's world. I know I'm Daddy's number one, for he loves me like I was his son. Daddy's girl, Daddy's girl, Daddy's girl, I'm the center of Daddy's world. I know I'm Daddy's number one, for he loves me like I was his son.
Hello, Julie. How have you been? Oh, it's just me, your old used to be. Just thought that I'd drop by to see the children for a spell. Me and my old semi's passing through the mineral well. Missed you, Julie. What's that cooking in the kitchen? Puts a body to remembering. I see our wedding picture is still hanging on the wall. It will be 13 years old sometime this coming fall. Won't it, Julie? Is that a picture of our daughter and our baby son? Would you look at that now, Julie girl? What they're almost half grown. Oh, I'd like to hang around till school lets out, if you don't mind. I haven't seen those kids of ours in such a long, long time. Have I, Julie? I just wonder what the kids would say if they thought I was home to stay. Sorry, Julie, I didn't mean to bring that question up. After what I've done, who am I to think that I deserve your love? How could I, Julie, left you, Julie, and I'm ashamed. I came to ask if we could try again. I'm sorry for the hard times and every tear that I caused you. Honey, I just had a lot of growing up to do. Forgive me, Julie. Julie, am I dreaming, or did I hear you wrong? Was it my imagination who said, darling, welcome home? Oh, I'd like to hang around for life if you don't mind, as close as I can be to you until the end of time. Forever, Julie.